Welcome to the altar. Welcome to the altar. Meet me at the altar.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Marriage Altaer Podcast.
Right.
I'm your host, Kadero.
I'm Hope.
I'm Ernestine.
And I'm Don.
And we are so happy you're here to join us. Hey, let's do something. For all our newbies, we need you to first subscribe. Make sure you like
it.
and hit that bell notification to make sure you get all the updates on when we drop a new episode. Because we dropped those episodes. That was ugly.
She did her 1993 escape run.
Listen, I love the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, they're good.
That was from Tiny herself.
I love the 90s.
I do love
She
them.
said, yeah.
We're done. Keep going,
As you
babe.
see, we get rowdy. We are crazy, but we love each other.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
And we love you.
And we love you. And we drop episodes every Wednesday at 12 p.m. We also drop in the mornings for our early bird risers on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, your favorite listening streaming service. Make sure you check us out. And make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms. And that's at the Marriage Altaer, ALTAER. Because, you know, we do it a little different here. We getting altered by the author in so many ways.
Ooh,
Okay.
Kadero.
And you know what?
What's
if y'all
up?
have any wins, make sure you email us.
Yes.
We want to hear about your wins. It's Wednesday.
Wins. Yes, I'm sorry.
Spelled
go ahead.
WINS. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, no, I was just going to say your wins. If you have questions, feedback, all of the above. I mean, we say it all the time, but it's not just a podcast, but it's a community. And in a community, we hold each other accountable, but we do it in a respectful way. You will never get any kind of pushback or flack from us from holding us accountable, asking us questions, seeking clarity, or even offering your opinion about something that maybe you don't agree with. I mean, that's how we all get better.
Yeah.
For us, it's the method and the tone of how you do it. And so as long as you come correct.
That part.
You
Come
know what
respectful.
I mean? Yeah. We invite all respectful commentary. But again, send us an email, info@themarriagealtaer.us.us with your questions. Or if you just want to share a win.
Yeah, and we do respond. So
Yeah, we do
do.
respond.
Yeah. All right. So I'm ready to jump into this one because, one, things have changed since
Drastically.
both of us, both couples have been a part of this.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to dive into some, like, dating. Dating it's a thing. And we always hear a lot from people that are in that it's trash.
Yeah. Garbage.
Garbage.
basura.
That dating is trash. And we're going to take it back to what we feel like are the do's and don'ts. But this is I'm interested in this conversation because it's been a while.
It has.
So, Hopkins, how long did you guys even date or court?
Stop it.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
It
About
was,
2 seconds, right?
it was about 2.5 seconds.
Not 2.5. Add that
A
half.
hot second.
Yeah.
We dated officially. We went on our first date. I want to say it was maybe March. Now we live in 2 different cities, so we were doing this long distance, and so I would drive up to Fort Worth, and we would go to Baja Fresh, her favorite spot at that time. It was her favorite spot, and we would date, but it wasn't a weekly thing because again we live we love long distance.
And we also did double dates before we started, actually.
Now, wait, how far was long distance? Because y'all were both in Texas.
We were both in Texas. 3.5.
3.5
Did you say 4.5 hours? It's not that long.
4 hours.
Let's meet in the middle.
We'll settle at 4.
Yeah.
Depending on traffic.
It didn't take me no 4 hours to get
Yeah,
there.
one of us was speed.
Got a heavy foot.
You know.
One of us foot was like,
What did it say?
The Texas highways be 75, 80, so you know.
So that means 90 in his book. No, I'm kidding. Don't. Yeah.
But we dated officially from March till June.
June is when we got engaged.
In June is when we got engaged.
Same
So 3
year.
months.
3 months.
Very quick. Very quick.
And it was long distance dating. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we didn't really fully know each other.
That
No.
part.
If you think about it, there were a lot of things we didn't know.
So when you think about you guys in that dating process, tell me what you felt were things you did right to say, yeah, I'm going to make this move into marriage. And then what were the things that already you was like, looking back is like, I would advise folks, do not do this. Because there are people that are out there that they do like 3 months. They get in there. I actually just saw a thread of a guy that was asking people. He wanted to know. He wanted to ask questions of folks who got married 3 months after dating, 3 months or less. Like, what was it? Did you just know? What was the process? So looking back for you guys, what were like those do's? Like, yeah, we knew this and this was what we did right. But what were the don'ts?
I think one of the things I feel like, you see how I
You took it that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because when he was talking, he gave me time to process.
Yeah.
But I feel like one of the things that we did do right was wanting to seek counsel, wanting to go to someone to help us learn how to be married and what that looked like. That was definitely a do. Now, how it played out after that.
Yeah, it didn't work too well.
Yeah, because do you have more to add?
No, go ahead.
I just kind of feel like the counsel we did receive it didn't go deep enough. And we only went to like 1 or 2 sessions.
Yeah, I think it might have been maybe 2 sessions.
So there was a true time for it to go deeper.
Right.
With 1 or 2 sessions.
And back then, I don't think virtual was like a big thing back then. Because that would have been helpful. We could have done it still virtually, but we didn't have that option.
Yeah, that was an option back then. But I feel like for us, well, from my perspective, like going back to the question, I feel like there was some things that we did right. Meaning there were some desires that we had, like the counseling, wanting to ensure that we set ourselves up for marriage. And there were some things that I think that we didn't count on being as heavy as it was. Like, for example, I mentioned this, I think, in episode 1 or 2, that there was a point where I kind of started getting a little hesitant about getting married. And it wasn't because I didn't want to marry her, but in my mind, I was thinking like, dang, I have issues. And I don't know if I'm supposed to carry this into my marriage.
Which I feel like when we sought counsel, that should have been caught then.
It wouldn't have been caught.
Well, if he would have asked the right questions. Elder Stan?
We wasn't with Stan
No,
at the
Elder
time.
Stan, if it would have been him, he would have asked the right questions.
Maybe.
Because
Shout out to Elder
I've known
Stan.
people that went to
You said
Elder
what?
Stan.
Shout out to Elder
Shout out.
Stan.
I mean, as long as he was honest and transparent, that would be up to
That's
him.
what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
I
I was
wasn't
about to
honest and
say,
transparent.
yeah.
back then.
Yeah, but
gotcha.
he would have dug and asked some questions, because I know someone who went to go see him, and then after they saw him, they was like, "Yeah, we don't."
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and call it quit.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because he's one of those people. He's gonna
Bring
ask
it
the
out.
good questions
Yeah.
that need to be asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that if I had been set up, and I'm not even saying from the counseling standpoint, if I had been set up as a young man to be, to deal with my issues and to understand I had issues, I think that the beginning of our marriage would have been a lot smoother.
And we probably would have waited, and I got married.
And we probably would have gave
been
it some more
engaged
time.
longer, which
Now,
is okay.
And so I would say, and I'll say for me, I can't speak for Ernestine, but a part of the reason why we did get married so fast is because I didn't want to keep doing long distance. And I did love her and all of that, but I hated leaving and then knowing I wasn't going to see her and there was no FaceTime back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so it was just like, this kind of sucks. I don't want to talk on the phone with you. I feel like I did that in high school.
I want to go on MySpace. And
Yeah, and wait for you to respond.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't want to do that.
Right.
And so my desire to get married was definitely more from a selfish place and not from a mature place. Like, okay, we're about to merge ourselves into one household.
Yeah.
And I'm about to spend the next however many years of my life with you. Am I ready for that? And I
Right.
think that sometimes when we ask those questions, the other person can feel, and Ernestine didn't feel this way, but I feel like the other person can feel intimidated or rejected by that. It's like, so you don't know if you want to marry me? It's like,
Right.
it's not that. It's just, let's take the time. Even if we do it together, let's take intentional time and let's take inventory of our baggage.
Yeah.
Like, do you know that you have baggage?
That part.
that's good.
And if you do know,
Yeah.
What is it? This is the opportunity to be open with me.
Yeah.
Let's practice right now.
Right.
What's your issues?
Yeah.
What are some things that you're dealing with? What are your inclinations? What are things that make you tick? Like, let's ask those questions now. And if you can't be transparent with me now, you won't be transparent with me later.
Yeah.
Marriage does not automatically stamp like truth and vulnerability and transparency on you.
Yeah.
Like-
At the altar. Oh, we're brand new and ready to. Yeah.
No, you're not. Marriage does not heal you.
Yeah.
You have to be healed for marriage. But a lot of us think, me being one of those people at the time, thought that, well, when I get married, it's going to automatically make me want to do right. And I manipulated myself. And when you manipulate yourself into doing something that you know you're not ready for, other people become collateral damage.
Yeah. And before we even got to elder stand, there were just certain questions we didn't ask each other, and I didn't even know to ask. You know,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things we should have asked and got to know about each other.
Yeah.
So that was a don't.
And if we're being transparent, if I could do it all over again, we wouldn't be having sex. Because we was definitely having sex.
Yeah.
Facts.
We was definitely having sex. But I think it robs the marriage.
Yeah.
Now, this is just Don Hopkins, right? But I feel like, and it wasn't just sex with her, but it was every sexual encounter I had before I got married.
Yeah.
It taught me to have a certain craving. Ooh. So we just had a comment that came in our DMs recently that says, y'all should talk about, it was like, what was it? It was like sex.
Well, she was talking about sex after marriage, like things that
To do.
Yeah, how far can a Christian marriage take things in
Got
their
you.
sex life?
I was
Got
like, let
you.
me see. What
Yeah.
But anyway, I know a lot of people have this mindset of like, well, I need to see what I'm getting myself
Yeah.
gotta
into.
test the
Right,
waters.
right.
Test the waters. But my question to you is, who taught you that?
Right.
What taught you that?
Yeah.
What taught you to have now?
Ooh.
I know my brothers and my sisters, the churchy folk, all the way down to the carnal minded folk, gonna have an issue with what I'm saying, so I'm gonna keep it light.
Okay.
But well, we keep it real raw and relatable.
That
so
part. I
can't
was
even-
about to say, just let it
I
go.
can't even. But anyway,
Go ahead and be raw.
like we have this toxic mindset of I have needs. But my question is, who taught you that this was your need? Most of us, we get our needs from a fantasy or vain or basically pornographic imagination.
Yeah.
You don't know that you, man, I mean, I'm just saying, like, she got to, like, where'd you get that
Right.
from?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and then too, I guess my question would be, okay, so basically you're putting that above the person and the purpose, right? Because the thing is, if God is telling you this is your person, but you have to test it out and you think it's trash, are you willing to sacrifice that person because you think it's trash?
And
but
most
then,
men will, and I say most men, men and women are not willing to.
Yeah.
No.
and then it's like, but y'all haven't had that moment to experience the intimate moments to discuss, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. Like you're
Right.
going into it just like, oh, let me just test the waters. But y'all haven't had any
Yeah. Right.
like intimate moments.
Right. And I feel like a part of the issue is that is the main thing that's on our mind.
Mm-hmm.
We're just ready to have some legal sex. Or I'm just like, I can't wait to get into bed and we finna like, and that's cool. But like the older you get, the less you
Listen.
doing it. So what else we got?
Right.
What else are we building?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think that we're taught that. So when you're dating, you know, and again, this is not everybody. Like, I
Right.
want everybody to know, like, I'm not saying this is, let me say this for the record. I don't, in certain ways, don't believe in absolute statements as it relates to us, people. I just don't. And they're laughing because
Inside joke.
I just don't believe in to a certain degree, right? There, when it comes to God, there's a lot of absolutes.
Yeah.
But when it comes to us and how we handle things, I don't believe in absolute statements. And so I'm not saying this is everyone and everyone's going to deal with it this way. I don't believe in that. So I'm never making absolute statements. Save your little comments. Well, I don't know. But anyway,
They sound like that.
but I do feel like men and women, like we enter into the dating game, and I feel like 90% of what's on our brain is what the sexual experience would be like. You meet a man or a woman, and I'm saying the average guy, right? You're looking at like, you already there.
Right.
Like, dang boy. I'll call myself out. When I was dating, I'm purely looking at the outside. And if you was fine, I'd be willing to overlook some traits that I know like would get on my nerves.
Now, do you feel like you were like that, Ernestine? Or
As far
you feel
as
like it's
automatically
different
looking at them
for-
and being
yeah.
like, no, I wasn't like that.
I don't think that I was either. And I wonder, like, is that naturally just a difference?
Between like men
Men
and
and
women.
women, yeah.
Like we
We are visually
very visual.
stimulated more
Yeah.
than women are, I say.
yeah.
Was it? Now I want to ask you.
It's different because like in our case we were so young, right? Like we 15, 16 we met. Kind of started dating. Like
But you wasn't
We
you wasn't
wasn't-
thinking about bodies and stuff like
no,
that.
you would always look at them like, oh, okay, she got a little bunky out there.
But you didn't say that about me, did you?
Huh? No,
Oh.
but it's okay.
It's okay.
It's all right. But I was also a boob guy.
Oh yeah, well, I was. Wow.
But you-
okay, never mind. I was about to do something. Can't do that on TV. Never mind. Go ahead.
Not on TV.
So that would kind of be like my first look, like, oh, okay,
Right.
she working with something at the top, like that.
Stop.
But I think it was just more of that visual
Yeah.
thing for us. I think, and we dated 4 years before we got married. But it was long distance. We did have a friendship that had been created for years prior to that.
I think that's a do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
is-
think
having
that's
that
a huge
friendship.
deal is having
Yeah.
a friendship. I think it's once you get into marriage and there's those times where you're like, I have to look at her sometimes like, yo, but that's my friend first and foremost. That takes me back of the reflection of, yo, we go back to some times when it wasn't even boyfriend, girlfriend. It was like, yo, she had some, things going at home and I was the one she could come and talk to, or yo, I just got in this argument with my parents and who did I want to go talk to about it was her. Like those are the moments where I remember like it was more than sexual. It was more than physical. It was just like an emotional connection that we already had of just having fun. What you see now of us having fun is because we were doing that as kids when we were just goofy kids acting up. Like, so we always had that. And I think for us, it was, for me, when you talk, going back to that question of, I think there was that piece. I think for me, it's just a little different because, well, I was exposed to a lot early.
Yeah.
So I think that goes back to the point of who taught you that.
Yeah.
And I think society and what's out there, whether it's the pornography, whether it's just a movie. I remember the movie Boogie Nights with
Oh my God.
that joint.
I haven't even seen that.
Me neither. I'm like,
It's a-
looking at
yeah.
Yeah, like I
Show it
remember
to
as a
Angela.
kid
Mama, let me
watching
watch
that and I'm
that.
thinking at first like, oh, what he doing? Oh, that's what he's doing. Oh, okay. Like,
gotta
and you're just your
context for that.
mind is like, oh, this is what life is like, or just how it stimulates the mind in a way where you look at things different.
Yeah.
And for a man, you now sexualize everything. And that was a piece I had to get over where seeing a woman, not just sexualizing her, and just looking at her for who she is.
Yeah.
And I think I began to learn that even while we were dating, because it was like, in my head, it was like, she's not, the physical was not, oh, it's not this, and this. It was like, nah, they were like, we got friendship. Like, she always at my throat and challenging me to be better. Like, this, like, get better, boy.
Get better, boy.
And I was like, I had a great opportunity, and I think I'm blessed that I was able to see that at a younger age, at 18, 19, and learning that early for me to be able to like, okay, yeah. I would say the same thing with probably the sex before marriage. We probably do that. Of course, from season 1, the forgiveness story, there was some truths that need to come out before that. And that could have made things different.
Yeah.
So again, that honest conversation. Are
Yeah.
we having honest conversations
Right.
while we're dating?
Yeah.
Because I think we go into the dating trying to still prove ourselves
Yeah.
to the other person.
Showing the representative.
We're
Yeah,
showing the
yeah.
representative. I am the ambassador of this
Yeah.
person behind
Yeah.
me, myself, that I'm still hiding from you because I want to present my best self to you.
Right.
And then we're not having real deep conversations of the baggage I have,
Yeah.
the hurts I have, the traumas I have,
Right.
we continue to put on what we call our rose-colored glasses,
Yeah.
and those red flags look
Just
normal.
blending in.
They just
Yeah.
blend in. And so now we come into this point of, I just brought all that into you. And now when I can just almost like, I think about it when you get into marriage, when a woman have the Spanx on and she let that joint loose.
Oh,
and
wow.
now
You know,
all that
men wear
comes out.
Spanx now too.
That's
That
true.
part.
But anyway, go ahead. I didn't
That's
mean to
true.
Why was I saying? Is it called Hanks?
Thanks.
Hanks.
But I think it's so key to just say like the communication piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like Ernestine, you said like sometimes you don't know those things to ask.
Yeah.
Right. And I think like because we were at such a young age, like maturity, we were mature in many areas, but as far as knowing the depth of how do I get to the true baggage or like the healing that needs
Yeah.
to take place, like those aren't the conversations that I feel like we were having
Not
at
at all.
before marriage. And we did premarital counseling, but I feel like even that too was good, but it wasn't like exposing anything really. It was like
I need
kind
to
of
dig in that thing.
yeah, dig in. Like let's get it all out. And I
Yeah.
feel like that was something that we didn't experience. So now it's like making sure that we're providing things for people, even like watching this podcast to know like, okay, well, these are maybe some questions that you should ask or like issues that, you could address or something like that. Like I just wish that we had that
Yeah.
coming up.
When it comes to marriage counseling, like I definitely feel that counselors need to be able to dig in, ask the hard questions. Like it's you have to think about it. You're about to pull somebody's life into yours.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about marriage in America is at a 50% divorce rate,
Listen.
let's go ahead and do the hard work at the top.
At the
end.
beginning.
You know what I'm saying? My issue was, I wouldn't say it was my issue, but something that I experienced with marriage counseling just as a youth, like in my church when I was younger, how they did it was the pastors would do marriage counseling.
The premarital counseling?
Yes, premarital counseling, premarital counseling. And if they felt like you weren't fit to be married, they would not marry you.
Yeah.
Like they would refuse to marry you and tell you that you shouldn't get married. And so so a lot of times, like I would be kind of like, there was a small fear I had because I was like, what if we not, like I
Right.
really want to marry her, but what if I'm told like, oh, well, no, y'all can't get married because y'all not ready. I used to be terrified of that.
Mm.
So then present yourself in a way of
Right. You knew how to
Right.
answer the question.
Right.
You knew how to say, oh, like, no, like, hey, listen, baby, whatever you want. No, it's not. I'm
Yeah.
selfish. I don't
Yeah.
care about what you feel.
So our encouragement to you guys would be to be transparent in those.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did we turn out right? Yes, we turned out well. But we had to go through a lot of the things that we tried to avoid in the beginning
Yeah,
Right.
in the marriage. And when it's in the marriage, it's a lot harder. Because now you're actually experiencing the real life
Yeah.
emotions of whatever you're going through. And obviously, that's not everyone's story, but it is ours. And so we're thankful that we got through it, but everybody don't make it.
Yeah.
yeah.
People don't make it through what we made it through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so real.
People don't make it through what y'all made it through. I know people who right now got divorced because their husband was watching porn.
Yeah.
Like everybody ain't got the same grace.
Right. That part. And I think that even goes to the point of like so many people I feel like are ready to jump into relationships or jump into marriage or engagements and all that stuff. But it's like, do people really take the time to work on themselves before getting into any relationship? And I think that's one thing that I would say is a major do, like something that we encourage you to do is like do some self-seeking or like exploring yourself, figuring out like what your baggage is, because I promise you throughout our marriage, I feel like I kept discovering things and it was like, dang, I should have dealt with that before. we got together. But it's like, don't be in such a rush to feel like you need to be in a relationship or something like that. Like, take the time, because it works out for you and the other person. Like, you don't want to damage, you know,
Stop marrying because you're trying to keep them from going somewhere.
Yeah.
Stop marrying because you're just trying to have legal sex. Stop marrying for all the reasons that are futile. That don't
for your
matter.
friends or your parents.
Yeah, like, or you're trying to escape something.
Yeah.
Like, I think going back to the divorce rate, I think the reason why the divorce rate is so high is because a lot of us in the beginning get married for reasons that are not great reasons and they're not sustainable.
Yep. Yeah. What are some, I guess? Like,
not,
if people...
not like reasons people get married that are not sustainable. Is
somebody's. Oh, go ahead.
Jump in. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the physical, just looking at, hey, she bad. You know?
Listen, that is a real
not
thing.
A good
especially
enough reason to get married.
Especially on the man side of things, right? Because I remember I would look at women and desire women the same way I would desire a nice car. Let's be honest. A lot of us, we pick things based on how they look with us or how they make us look. How they present us to the world, how they make us feel about ourselves. Yeah. Most of us as guys, women too, but I'm saying most of us as guys.
You gotta say
that.
I know, you gotta say
I understand that's unfair. It's not just men.
Right.
But a lot of us, we pick our women the same way we pick our cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know guys, like if you from the hood, we all know people who was living at their mama house in a busted up looking trap house type of house
with a shiny Mercedes on.
With a nice Mercedes on some rims. Sitting in the yard, not the driveway. Parked in the yard.
He said behind the fence. Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Chain.
And we do those things because of how it makes us look.
Yeah.
What it makes people think about us. And we sometimes pick our women the same way.
And men, like beauty fades.
Right. That part.
The mileage is high on that. Yeah, but that must look good though. and we look at women like, she might be crazy, but she fine though.
Yeah.
Like I can see me walking in the party with her, boy, and all my homeboys gonna be asking me about her.
Yeah.
Like we pick women based on the same way we pick our cars.
We can't ignore those red flags. If she's showing you that she's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Pay
But we
attention.
willing, but we willing to overlook it and say, I mean, it's cool. I can deal with it because, I mean, she bad and she probably throw it down in the bed. Like, I can just imagine. All the reasons that don't even matter.
Or if he's overly possessive, or if she's overly possessive, well, we'll say she and he, like, don't ignore that.
Yeah. Don't ignore it.
It's not, because some people be like, oh, he really cares about me. But he sound like he one step from crazy.
Yeah.
Don't ignore that.
Yeah.
Or he had an outburst one day and he was like, you know, I'm sorry. Like, I need to do better with that. And you like, okay, sound like you crazy. Well, he might be. Now, that doesn't mean if something happens that they're not your person. Right. It just means like you need to take inventory and be like, okay, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, let's work through that.
But here's the other thing that I don't think we do enough of. We don't ask the question, is this the person that God has for me? Like for men, is this my rib?
Right.
I definitely didn't ask God that question. God, am I his rib?
Because we just be out here doing stuff. And because we have agency, right? We have free will. God is not going to force himself on us to change or influence our decisions. That's witchcraft. He's not manipulating our minds like, no, that ain't who I have for you. I need you to marry that person. Yeah. Like, he's not going to do that. And then we get into the situation and we pray, kind of. It's more like we're telling God what's going to happen.
Right.
And then we end up marrying the one person and then blame God. Like, I don't understand why my marriage is failing. Yeah. He's like, that ain't who I have for you in the first place. Yeah. You did that. And you did it for the wrong reasons. Right? And that's not everybody. There's some people who did it for the right reasons. And they had a great marriage and then found out for the past 10 years their husband had multiple women or whatever the scenario is. Or maybe he was a homosexual undercover and you didn't know it. Yeah. I know people who husbands cheated on their wives with other men and the wife was devastated because she was like, I had no idea. I thought it would have been a woman. Like, it's just... Yeah. You never know, but it's the things that we don't talk about. We don't talk about our weaknesses. I wouldn't in the beginning of my marriage, I felt like I would have never exposed to her like, hey, like I have an issue with women. Because in my mind, I'm like, that's gonna push her away. I don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna keep it to myself and I'll just figure out a way to deal with it.
Yeah.
And you don't deal with it.
Have y'all heard about, this was a couple years ago, I don't know what it was, but my daughter was telling me about how women were buying, I don't know if it was crystals or marbles, something, I don't know.
Probably not marbles.
No.
They were purchasing, okay. But they were purchasing like something and praying over it for a man to, like a certain man that they wanted, for them to come to them.
Yeah.
It was crystals or something that they were doing back then.
Like witchcraft.
Yeah, it's witchcraft.
It is
so
witchcraft.
that's not.
Wow.
Well, because you're manipulating. Here's the thing. You ever seen the movie Love Potion Number 9?
No.
Okay.
We all said,
Yeah.
no.
I assumed y'all didn't, so let me tell y'all about it. Love Potion Number 9 is a movie that came out, I want to say it was in the late 80s. And it was Sandra Bullock and some other people that y'all probably don't know of, but they were famous back then.
Okay.
And Sandra Bullock and this other guy, they were like, so it's kind of telling both of their stories, but they're separate. At this point, they hadn't met. And so it's a story about these people who basically were kind of like losers in life, you know, weren't very attractive. You know, she had the very frizzy hair with the glasses, dressed very nerdy, didn't have friends, stuff like that. And so they meet this woman who's like a, what they call her, like a gypsy or something, whatever. And the guy, she basically gives them this potion called Love Potion Number 9. Love Potion Number 9 was this thing. It was like a liquid, like a thick liquid. And if you ate a piece of it or drank a piece of it, a small amount of it, any person that you speak to, they automatically fall in love with you.
I think
feel
you may
like
have
I
made me
remember.
watch this once. It
I
sounds
feel like
familiar.
it sounds familiar.
And so
Yeah.
you
I
can't
think
do
there's a
too
song,
much
too.
because
Love
it'll
Potion
influence
Number
everyone.
9.
So like,
Oh, never mind.
so basically they take this love potion. This is what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
Is
Gotcha.
Love Potion Number 9, where you do this voodoo or this magic, or you take this potion
Call it what it is.
and
Right,
you go to the
right.
person whom you want,
And now they want you.
and now they want you uncontrollably.
There's another one that they do today too, where they're like, they'll say the person's name, blah blah will want me, da 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 will want me, da da. They're writing it over and over again. They're calling it manifesting. Maybe
Yeah.
that's witchcraft.
Manifesting is demonic. Oh, church folks, that means you too. Dang, I probably shouldn't have said that. But it's out there.
You sit up writing, Dawn will want me, Dawn will want me, Dawn will want me, Dawn.
Like
That sound right to you?
now, let me go back. Let me just go back.
You gonna correct it?
Let me just kind of. I am not saying that if you say, I believe one day my marriage is going to be healed. I'm not saying that's demonic, right?
We're specifically talking about what I just said. Dawn will want
Yeah.
me.
But
You
Dawn
talking
will
about what
want
you
me.
just said.
Right, I'm talking about
When he used the word manifesting, it's demonic.
like, yeah,
Or we could just edit it out and you don't even have to address it.
No, I mean, I'm
No.
fine with it.
Okay.
I just want us to have the proper perspective about everything.
Yeah.
I think
Gotcha.
that as believers, since we're on that topic, I think that we need to have a better understanding of what God wants for us versus we're trying to influence
Yeah.
God about what we want.
There it
Yeah.
is.
That's why we end up that's why we end up in relationships that we shouldn't be in,
Yeah.
because we overlook what he wants for us and we override his desire with our desire.
Yep.
And we have this scripture in our mind. Well, he says that he will give us the desires of
Desires
our
of our
heart.
heart.
That is
Right.
not what that means.
No.
Let me correct my posture. That is not what that means.
Yeah.
God is not going to move the cosmos so your desires can come out on top.
Where all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute,
Like,
Dawn?
he's
think
not
I like him
He
all
is
of a
not
sudden.
answering.
Because you was writing my name
Right.
over and over.
He
Right.
is not answering all of your prayers
Yeah.
because we pray demonic prayers.
Yeah.
There are women out there right now, somewhere in the world, praying for their husband to be killed because of how he did them. And I kill him dead. And the woman he with too. What if God answered that prayer? God is not a gypsy. God is not a slot
genie in
machine.
the bottle.
He's
Yeah.
not a genie. When it says he will give you, it means that your desires will become more like his.
Yeah.
So he gives you the desires of his heart, meaning the desires of his heart becomes your heart's
heart.
desire.
Yeah.
So what I desire it matches up with what the Father desires.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, okay, anything my heart desires, huh, God?
Right.
He would be a very unfit God
Yep.
if he was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get that right. Jesus came to the earth. He says, I only speak what my Father speaks. I only come to do the will of who? My Father, not his own will. Right?
Got that preacher tone going. I love it. No, that's so good.
So it's the
That's
same
so
with
good.
dating and marriage.
Yep.
God has been speaking to you. That ain't him. I don't know. That's the devil. No,
Yeah.
that ain't him. Well, he's so fine. He tall.
Right.
Chocolate. He in that gym. Got a nice job. Got the money line. Like
Yeah.
that ain't him. I mean, that gotta be him. That ain't him. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then what happens is you get in this marriage. He go upside your head. He doing all this crazy stuff. He don't really care about what you care about. He don't take care of you. He don't love on you the way you need it. And now you sitting in the marriage 7 years later, 6 years later, depressed and fantasizing about other men and blaming God that your marriage is like this when he told you from the beginning that ain't him. Dating is not the opportunity. It's not an a la carte situation like, look, let's see what's out here. It's an opportunity for you to look at yourself in retrospect and says, okay, first of all, can I be somebody's good wife?
That part.
Can I be a good husband? Do I know what being a good husband means?
Right.
Do I know what this person, like, I have to take, like, before I even look at them, am I ready?
Yep.
Am I ready for, and not meaning I'm lonely. That's not ready.
Right.
I was going to say, people are so desperate because they're lonely that they think they're ready. I remember being in the mall one time, like, by myself. I used to go to the mall movies alone when I was single. I was in the mall in the food court eating, and all I started seeing was couples everywhere, like, holding hands, and I was like,
I want that.
Yeah.
dang, I want that. So when I was approached by different men, I ignored red flags because I wanted to be wanted so bad.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in a relationship so bad.
What happens when the holding hands thing is old?
Right.
Ooh. What
Which we
happens-
encourage, don't let it get old. That's for our married people, though, right?
This was married folk.
Hold my hand.
Come on, huh? Take a break.
Come on, let's
hold
take a moment of hand-holdedness.
this part. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
All
good. All right.
He said, all right.
That's good. Yep.
But I'm saying that to say, like, yes, there are some personal desires that you will have, and that is okay.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is you cannot override reality with the fantasy of the longing and the desire that you have, because it causes you to overlook certain things that could be detrimental to you. It could be. That's for men and women. And so I forgot the original question, but I know we've been flowing.
I remember
But,
something about manifesting.
Yeah.
but like, do you feel like you should have the sex talk
Yeah.
in the dating phase before you get to marriage? I think you do.
Set boundaries.
I think you do. Now, again, some of that is, yes, boundaries, because you listen. He might be like, no, he might feel like, hey, everything that's an opening, I want that, and she might be
see where you're
like,
going.
brother, first of all,
Yeah.
no, but he ain't disclosed to you, and you don't know about him, or vice versa, or whatever, that right now, because he's single, he watch porn all the time.
Right.
So he can't wait to get married so he can do everything that he legally.
So when is it appropriate to have those type of conversations if you're dating, Christian dating? When is it appropriate to have those type of conversations?
I have to answer.
So, go ahead. No.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like it's hard to put a 3
Time
months
stamp.
or something like that.
Right.
I feel like both people just have to be at a mature state where it's like, okay, you feel like it's going somewhere else.
Yes.
Right.
Like
and both
towards
y'all are
marriage?
towards marriage, and you kind of have those conversations. Okay, well, I feel like this is going somewhere. Like, do you feel the same? And if so, like, now we need to start laying out the parameters and boundaries, or like, how does this look moving forward?
Yeah,
Are
if
you
you
gonna say
had-
something?
No, my thought process is from there. It's kind of going the opposite way, because my questioning, again, dating is so different now.
Right.
So my question is, because Don, you said that a la carte. Is there stages in dating, right? Because is
Like
there
today,
a part
you're talking
today
about?
now?
Yeah.
Is there stages in dating where I am right now? I am playing the field because I want to get to know. Like I've heard somebody say, it's almost like an application process. we're talking. So I am talking to multiple people because I am getting the applications out. I'm learning who they are. Then,
Which I think that should be communicated.
okay.
I'm
no,
saying
I'm
like if you're talking, well, do y'all hold on, let me think about this.
Yeah.
No.
So, and then once you decide the person that, okay, this is a person like.
Hold on, do you
I
feel
can
like
see
a person
myself.
should know though that like
that you're
that
you're,
you are like where I'm talking.
like
to other-
I'm one of the 4 that you're like like do you think that person
I
should know?
personally think they should because you never know the intent, like what they're thinking on their
Right.
side. You don't want them like, oh well, he all in for me.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like, I'm playing the cards because I want to eventually say, do I eventually? And then this is a question I'm asking out there to say, I'm looking to date. I'm looking to say, I'm now talking to 4 people. We may go have lunch or something. From that time frame, I'm like, yeah, these are folks that just in our dealings, no. And now there's one I want to be exclusive with.
Well, let me
And I'm just asking because I've heard this talk of in dating, like there's this almost like an application, then there's the exclusivity, then now we're talking like we're getting, but that's part of this whole
I feel like I have
dating
mixed
spectrum.
emotions.
I do too.
And that's why I'm asking this question.
From a man's perspective. Now, it's almost like today's age, you got to give 2 answers. You got to give like, the spiritual answer, and then you got to give what's current in today's answer, right?
Yeah.
In today's culture.
Mm-hmm.
My response that I'm choosing to go with is you have to, if you were whole and healthy, I don't even know if you'd be doing all that. I feel that a whole man, not this cocky, got it all together man that we talk about in culture today, like he got it all together, like he got the money, I ain't even talking about that. You're a whole man. Like you love yourself as a man. You know your identity, you know your purpose and calling in the earth. You want to see the will of the Father be manifesting in your life. And then you know you need a rib to help you fulfill the mission of your created purpose in the world. That is how God set it all up to be.
Right.
What we've done is we've polluted it and we've made it Babylonian and we've made it it's really sorcery. No, let me explain that, because anytime that we take something that God created and we change the purpose of what he created to match our desires, that's sorcery. You just changed the natural dynamic of something that was created by God. Marriage is one of those things. We've made marriage about everything that God was like, no, that's not what I designed. We was like, well, no, that's what we want. So that's what it's going to be.
Golly.
So what happens is there are bad habits, bad decisions, bad mentalities, thoughts, mindsets that come with the new thing because the original purpose of why it was created has been polluted.
Yeah.
It's what we call perversion. Perversion is not just sexual.
Sex,
I know in
right.
church we've always learned perversion is mostly perversion is anything that God created and I changed the purpose
Yeah,
of it.
twisted, yeah.
Perverted it.
So, dating as a man, if I was holistically a man, if I was in the will of my Father, if I really wanted to please him and then I would not be out here trying to figure like, okay, no, I feel like I'm going to be like, when that moment happens where I meet the woman I'm like interested in, I feel like it would be 1, not 5. Like, okay, I'm gonna see how. And I know in today's culture, they like, hey, you need
Date
to be
around.
sure, date around, feel it out. And I get it, and I get it based on how our culture is set up today. But what I'm saying is, if we were who we were supposed to be from the beginning, if I was raised in I'm not saying perfect scenarios. I'm not saying, well, you talking about perfect. That don't exist. Ain't no perfect life. I'm not saying perfection. I'm just saying if I was aware of my flaws and I actively went to God about that, right? And if I was intentional with the type of husband that I wanted to be, the type of father that one day I want to be, if I was intentional, like I feel like when my rib shows up, I'll know it. I have a friend right now. His name is Michael Kwame. Shout out to Mike and Gigi.
I feel like never mind.
And
Kwame.
Mike was a different. Now we say Mike was a different breed because he's so different than most people. But I feel like it was how it was supposed to be. Mike was preaching in middle school. Very respectful, was a virgin, was not ashamed of telling people about the gospel, wasn't ashamed about his decisions to be a virgin, like wasn't influenced by outside opinions, wasn't influenced by peer pressure, none of those things. He was proud to live his life for God, even at a young age. Didn't date, nothing. But one day, Gigi came along. And I don't know the story of how long they dated. I know they dated for some years or whatever. But when he knew, he knew. And that's who he's married to today. They were successful together, all this stuff. Now, her story wasn't the same. You know, they came from different backgrounds. But I'm using him as an example because I believe we see things like that. It's like, oh, wow, he's a less than 1%, man. They don't do that no more. That's rare.
Rare,
He just,
yeah.
or some people's like, okay, that's extra. Ain't nobody doing all that, and that's your problem. That's our problem. We get our dating advice from movies. We get our dating advice
From TikTok,
Instagram, from Kim Kardashian, from porn. Like we get most of the influence on our lives on what kind of couple we will be or what kind of person in our relationships will be is influenced by outside I'm just gonna say what it is. Like it's demonic. It really is. Like if you look at the core of it, I know. DJ's always he's always saying something's demonic.
yeah.
I'm just saying, if we were whole,
We can date one person at a time.
let me
and get to know that one person.
Let me use one more example. My daughter was talking to a guy in high school, and they were already talking, but they came to me and Ernestine so I could meet him and kind of put my stamp of approval on them dating, which they were doing it anyway. Shout out to my daughter Bree. And nice dressed guy, you know, whatever, very intentional with his looks and appearance and all that. And then I asked him a question. I don't even know why I asked him this because I don't normally walk around. Now I do, but normally at that time I wasn't walking around thinking this. But something told me just to ask him, do you love yourself?
Yeah.
I asked him, I said, hey,
Shout
man,
out to the Holy Spirit.
Definitely the Holy Spirit. I asked him, I said, man, I said, do you love yourself? And he sat there for like 2 seconds. And he's like, no, sir.
So heartbreaking.
And so I was like, so then how are you going to love my daughter? And he didn't have an answer. And it wasn't because he was a bad guy. He never been taught to think like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure no one ever asked him that before.
No one's ever asked him, do you love yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't think about that kind of stuff. You're trying to love, I'm a hopeless romantic. That's demonic.
You just said a second ago that you always calling everything demonic.
Because it is. You're a hopeless romantic because you're insecure and you just want someone to love you.
We should put a reels together of every time God says.
That's demonic. Demonic.
Oh, to put a little deep behind
We're
it.
going to do a hashtag. That's demonic.
But I do see what you're saying, and I do believe that it's a good idea to date one person at a time instead of having 50,000 applications out there.
Now, are you saying that like dating one person at a time, or like going in at it like when you see this person and you feel like God has told you like that's your person, like you stick to that one person?
If God tells me that's my person, that's my person.
There's a lot of people out there though who say,
But
God
I need to
told
see
me-
something else.
God told me you my husband, and the person
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
No,
he didn't tell me
no,
that
no,
yet.
no, no.
So-
I think there's an appropriateness too. Like if you believe that God says that's your wife, that's not your opportunity to go to somebody and say, hey, Lord told me you my wife. That's it. Nah, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is I'm more so talking about if you meet someone and you find an attraction to them, like, okay, like I'm interested. I think that if you're interested, I think that you be up in front and honest about that. Hey, Ernestine, hey, I just want you to know that I find you highly attractive.
That part, come on.
I've noticed you for the past couple of weeks off and on.
Shoot your
and
shot.
I would love the opportunity to get to know you better. If you're open to it, I'd love to take you out.
So is it weird for him to have that same conversation with 4 other women?
That's weird to me. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. That comes off very like creeper, like
Disingenuous also.
yeah, you're using the same line for like again, but I know that's our culture. Shop around.
Yeah.
You free. You ain't married to no like you. And I understand that. I understand it from the mindset of I was raised in the same culture, so I get why you think that.
But shopping around could be like dating this, like not date. Well, I guess like going out with this one girl, and then you're like, maybe she's not for me, and then like you move on to somebody else. Like, so we're still doing one person at a time versus
Telling four
different people.
You're asking me like I know the answer. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going based off of the fact of, and it's just kind of what I've heard of, like it's because it's a phase of dating. Even within the dating piece, there's this phase. Like I don't want to just go all in on this, and then I just wasted my time because we always talk about this intentional dating.
Yeah.
So is there a period of time where it's like, because we've changed the names. We're just talking. And we're courting, or we're we're exclusive. Like,
but do we have to get out of the mindset of, I just wasted my time? Like, I get it to a degree, but you're also testing something out. Like, you have to be willing to put time into something. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. But I feel like,
my question is, why do you feel like your time was wasted?
Right.
Like, what was
especially if you walked away with something learned from it, or like, I don't like that, or that's not for me, or like was it true time wasted, or was it you figuring out who you are, who they are?
If you feel like your time is wasted, it's because you're in there trying to get something and you realize it wasn't going to be that. And you're like, oh, shoot.
And then on the receiving end, I would like to know that you had that same conversation with 3 other people. Because, that's misleading. A person will be like, oh, wow, he really likes me. Not knowing yesterday he just said that to somebody else.
Somebody else,
Like, hey, I just want you to know, like, there's 3 other women I'm asking this to.
Yeah.
No one's going to do that.
Like, huh?
Well,
Which is why
I don't want
feel
to say
like
no one, but
the way we do things is unhealthy. And I think I think that even before we get to the dating, that's why I'm saying, and I'm probably not articulating this the best, but I'm hoping people are mature enough to hear what I'm trying to say, is who are you before you even get to the dating part?
That's my main.
Like, what are you looking for? Why is it that you have your eye on 4 different people? Like, what is it? Obviously, you don't know all 4 of these different people, so you're basing this all on looks. Like, and looks is important. I want, but at the same time, who are you?
Yeah.
Do you love yourself?
Right.
Are you confident in who you are? Are you looking for some booty? Or are you looking for your rib?
Which body part you want?
Which one you
The booty or the ribs?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because that booty ain't gonna be there forever.
It's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
What happens when it goes away?
It just went away.
That's when we start having stuff like, you just let yourself go. Well, that shows me that you was in this thing for the wrong reason anyway.
Yeah.
Now, am I saying that I like my wife to look? I'm not saying I don't like it.
Get
You
into
said
it.
it look good.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is, if that is the basis
Primary
of why
reason.
I want to be married to you, I'm setting myself up for a 20-year disappointment,
Yeah.
30-year disappointment.
Yeah.
And now you got husband and wives that sleep in different bedrooms because that's what they do at an older age.
That's another question I have, but that's for another episode. So I guess what else going back, like, okay, you said there's stages of dating. So there's what? Just casting your net, I guess, is what these people are saying.
The talking period. Then there's the exclusivity. And then from there, I hope it's going into engagement and marriage. But
And
it's
that-
like, how do they go from that talking, or is it okay to go from that talking to now decide, I want this person to be, this is the person to be exclusive with.
Yeah,
So is it
absolutely.
like one at a time and then like, because you're going to hear a lot of people, well, how long is that? And I guess that's different for everybody, right?
It's different.
Have a churchy response to that.
Because it's like, I want to, and I guess that's, again, that goes back to, who are you?
Yeah.
Because you should know immediately if it's one at a time. We go out and it's 2 weeks and you're like, whoa, no, that's not it.
Sometimes you know that first date.
And then somebody it may take a month.
Yeah.
Are you including God in your decisions?
Are you including God in your decisions?
Are you praying about it? 9 times out of 10, you're not. But are you praying about it?
Yeah.
If you, that's what I'm. This is what
I know we didn't pray.
No, we didn't pray.
Did y'all? Y'all were so young.
No, I did. Like, to me, that's how I knew at a young age that this was going to be. Because I kind of prayed about it.
Yeah.
We ain't pray.
No, we did not pray. I went basically off of I want to have more sex. I don't want to keep driving to get it.
I don't want to keep driving to get it.
I want like
All 3.5 hour drive for this.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
right, Lord.
I mean, and those weren't the only reasons. But what
Right.
I'm saying is, like, this sounds like such a. Here's the problem. What I'm saying, if what I'm saying makes you feel like, bro, he's so extra, or like it don't take all that, that is the problem. That is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That is a part of the problem. That we don't include God in anything but the blame when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
Real.
That's so true.
That's when we include God.
That's so true.
How about we include him on the front end?
Right.
Lord, I find this woman, like, it's not weird, dog. Like, Lord, I find this woman highly attractive.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can see this going long term.
Yeah.
Me personally, if you're in tune with the Father, when you're dating, you already know she's your wife.
Yeah. And I think too, like that is why we see, like you said, the divorce rate is at like 50%. But you look at these celebrities or like these people of influence, and you see that they just started dating, then they're married, and it's like, what did that process look like? And then you're disappointed when you see the headlines of, oh, they got a divorce, and it's like, did they? I mean, for the most part, I feel like we can answer this, but did they include God in their decision?
No, that's not popular. Even church
Right.
folk don't do it.
Right.
I'm going to go out here and I'm just, I'm free reign. I'm going to just figure it out.
Yeah.
Based on how I feel. Today I might feel like a Hispanic, Latina looking, or,
Yeah.
tomorrow I might be my black chocolate sister. I mean, hey, I'm free, man. I can do what I
Yeah.
want. Check it. And then, it's all rooted in unhealthy mindsets. And most of us ain't healed.
So it leaves a string of broken hearts.
That's
String
what
of
it
broken
does.
homes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's what it does. And I'm saying if we truly were operating as the chosen generation that we like to say that we are, right? Let's include the Father in more of our decisions.
Yeah.
That is my advice to single people. Now, this may only apply to people who consider
Believe.
themselves followers of Jesus or whatever the case. And honestly, if you're not a follower of Jesus, you can still seek the Father. He'll be found wherever you choose to find him. He'll be there, right? And I know this didn't turn into like we don't know what we talking about right now, but I just really want to make sure that I am very clear on my stance, on my thought, because I did it wrong. Thank the Lord that I
For the grace.
for the grace, but
Yeah.
I did it wrong.
Yeah.
We're proof that you can do it wrong and God still show grace. But you don't test that. You don't intentionally like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and fall out where I may,
Right.
wherever the Lord lands me.
Grace, my Lord.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be that way.
Right. It didn't have to be that part.
And so our story was what it is, so we can help other people. It's like, hey, don't do it the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But back to my point, I think that if we include the Father in more of our decision making, not just marriage and all those, but just in life, the Bible says, "My sheep know my voice, and a stranger they will not follow." His voice and his character are synonymous. When you begin to know the character of God, you begin to recognize the voice of God.
Yeah.
And when we align ourselves to that, when it comes to dating and relationships, we will see people through the lens of how the Father sees them. We will love people, even our enemies, how He loves. And then when it comes time for when He exposes the Bible says, our rib, our Eve, our wife, I think that the Father, the Spirit in us will like, hey. And the first thing you ain't thinking about, like, I wonder how she is in the bed. Like,
Right.
that's not your first thought. Your first thought is, wow,
I can see my life with her.
I can see my and you may not know anything about her. There's still a process.
Yeah.
But like the sex talk and all that, I think that if you're in tune with the Father and she's in tune and you're growing together, there's a part of me that feels if it was done right from the very, very beginning. I don't know if the sex talk ever comes up. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not making an absolute statement that it does or doesn't. I'm just saying I wonder because it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because number one, and I'm saying this when I say done right, I'm saying you both are virgins. I have not met a virgin yet that the wife and the husband were both virgins and they were like talking kinky sex talk beforehand.
Right, because that actually can lead to something that you didn't want to do yet. Because you're having this conversation before you know it, you're getting all riled up, you know.
Yeah.
Because you're having premature conversations.
Yeah.
My desires of my wife when we got married was not rooted in, this is my wife. And like, my desires of my wife was rooted in everything that I had experienced beforehand. All right, we got to keep the same energy. So I had expectations of her to do things that I had other women do or that I saw in porn. I was like, man, that's it. That's what sex means. I re-identified what sex was. And then I put that expectation without a conversation on her. Like, this is what we married. I need all of that. Right? Ain't that what marriage is?
Right?
Like, I'm married. I want all of it.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
Well, it needs to be your thing. Who's right and who's wrong?
Yeah.
I was not fit to be a husband yet. I was not ready. I thought I was based on what the world taught me about marriage and experimentation. And get out there, a la carte. Figure it out.
Just a la carte, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that led to me being unfaithful in my marriage because then I was like, well, I'm going to go get it. And
You created the desire for a la carte.
Right.
Instead of just getting the full course meal. Enjoying the full course meal.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like, the appetizer never lasts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just a bite.
That's it. And so
Depending on where you at.
I put all this pressure on her. And then when she couldn't live up to the expectations that I just threw on her, then I said, well, I'll go somewhere else and get it. And then we can still do the married thing.
Not the married thing.
You know what I'm saying? Now I didn't say that in my mind, but I'm just saying, like, that's how we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was never healthy.
Makes so much sense.
I hope you all watching have heard many red flags that you you should not
There's
ignore.
a lot of don'ts
Right.
in there.
Even if-
they're not gonna agree.
Well, even if the red flag is coming from you, even if you are the red flag.
You might be the red flag.
Be waving that sucker hard.
You might be thinking like, dang, I am dating someone right now,
Right.
and all I thought about is having sex, and can't wait to get married so we can just have sex. I'm like, okay, is there anything else?
Yeah. So let me ask you this question because I know, like, we talked about, like, you know, physical is one of the reasons not to. Like, what type of topics are there to discuss, like, outside of physical, because we know that fades? Like, what are some of the things that people should look for, like, while they're dating in a person?
I think like practically, because I'm assuming that's what you're asking, like the practical things.
Like,
too.
if
'Cause
people's
I know we always
takeaway.
go straight to sex, which is good.
Right.
But practically, like, how do you manage money? Like, I would ask them, what do you think about generosity? Like, how do you, like, because again, if you're inviting me to be a part of this, I need to kind of know, like, what are your habits?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe there's some things that I can help. Like, there's things I wasn't good at that Ernestine was great at. And it was, I don't know who that is. It wasn't me,
My
though.
stomach.
Look,
Oh,
and
that's
I'm pointing.
Because they were hungry. I mean, just brought it all up. For those of you who didn't hear, Kadero's stomach was
Stomach
growling.
was
I'm putting you out there.
I know.
But I think we should ask questions like that. I think we
Yeah.
should ask questions of like, hey, so give me your philosophy about money and money management. You know, talk to me about that.
Yeah.
And then also offer your position. And if you're not great, say that.
Yeah.
And in that moment, that'd be a great opportunity if neither of you are great. for y'all to learn and grow together. You know,
Yeah.
start looking into that. Okay, this is something we need to work on.
Yeah. Think through it. You know, another thing I think is tidiness and cleanliness. Like, hey, do you keep a clean house? Or like we talked about in one of our episodes, he was like, do you make the bed when you get up?
Yeah.
Or do you just, and me and Hope were like, well, we getting back in it later, so.
Look, we've been making the bed.
Look,
a lot
we've been on a
lately.
roll.
We've been on
Now,
a
when y'all
roll
come to
lately.
the house today, y'all may not see it made because we was moving, shuffling this morning. You know, but we've been doing a great job with that, Reese.
Is your inclination to take off your pants and throw it on the floor, or
Right.
to put it back on the hanger? Mine is to throw it on the floor. Or lay it across something. That makes sense.
Everybody got that chair in their
chair in the
room.
I want to remove all chairs, all everything. Get it out of here.
You know what I mean?
Get it up on the floor.
Right.
I'm a very observant. Like to me, it's like, how do you treat other people,
Yeah.
and just watch or how you treat folks.
Yeah.
When y'all go out to eat, how
Yeah.
you treat
Yeah, how you
people.
treat-
How you treating folks?
Yeah.
Like, are you a servant by nature? Or are you very like my way and,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
type person? So those would be like the things I'm always looking for, because I'm always looking for how does that person compliment me. Again, goes back to I think the number one do is, who am I?
Yeah.
What does God want from me? What is my purpose? Then, and I'm looking, especially as a man, I'm looking for someone to help me with my purpose. I'm looking for someone to compliment me. So for me, I'm a servant at heart. I love people. I love hosting people. Like, I saw that in her. Because that one was in me, even how I was raised, and I had that. And I found that I love doing it as well. But then even in seeing her, it was like, oh, wow, she loves people. She cares for folks. She likes hosting folks.
To like pay attention.
So I'm paying attention to that,
I like
because
that.
that's a purpose in me, to have a space where eventually we're going to have a lot of people in our home, because it's going to be a safe space. It's going to be a place. So now we look back and we're like, yo, this is manifestation of what our purpose were, even together, of something as this is going to be a safe space of people that's struggling, people that's just going through it, people that just need to vent. But this would be that restingness for them to do so. But if she was like, I don't want nobody in my house, or if she was there, I don't like folks, like, how we gonna then I'm ready to go. So how's it gonna work out?
Yeah, that's really good, bro. Like, it makes because you might be an outgoing people person and you love to host and love to have things. She's like, I am a introvert. I don't like people in my personal space. I'm very private. Yeah. That's something that needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
You know, and discussed. Like, there's so many things. You know what I mean?
Like,
But
what are your
there's
goals for the future?
Children.
children?
have-
Some
yeah.
people say, well, I just want one. And there's like, I want 12.
Or there's
Yeah.
some that say, I want none.
Yeah.
There's some that wants none, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you should definitely discuss that and goals for the future.
Yeah.
And if they say, I don't know yet, y'all can still work through that before you get married. Like,
Yeah.
talk and have conversations and
So I'm hearing communication is so key.
Yeah,
Because we
communication.
got to be talking.
That's the major do. Is to
Yeah.
We
communicate.
got to communicate and communicate honestly.
Yeah.
Like, be honest, not trying to put up this front.
I was gonna say your true self
Appease
from the
them.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can only sustain the
the rep.
for so long.
Yeah.
Like eventually it's gonna expose itself.
I would say another thing
Yeah.
is, are you a gung-ho person? Are you a, let's take our time, let's think through it, let's be sure, let's plan it person?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm a gung-ho person. Ernestine is not.
Like, wait a minute, hold on now.
Yeah, let's slow down.
She's like, okay.
Let's be.
Ernestine be like, okay, can we do that? I'm like, I don't know, but let's just do it. You know what I mean? Like, but that can
Yeah.
cause rifts
Yeah.
because you be out there doing something and your spouse be like,
Really bad. Come back.
why? Like, and it can really cause real issues because for some people, that could be a trauma thing.
Yeah.
My daddy was a gung ho person. He would just do things and it caused issues for our family. And now I just reminded you of your father
Yeah.
in a negative sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like we have to talk about all those things.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions,
Oh, okay.
and I'm thinking about, well, one is more in general, and I think the other one is more that churchy. The in general one is we hear it constantly. One with, you got your independent women out here. They want they man to have everything already set in stone, or they can't take them to Cheesecake Factory. We've heard that one. And the overall theme of it all is there's no good men left, or there's no good women left.
So untrue.
The second one is...
Hold on, so what's the question?
The question is that true?
Oh, okay.
There is no good men left. Like, we hear it all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Sounds like an absolute statement to me.
like, what's your feeling for folks that's dating? Like, and that's they have come to that that thought. Not realization, but it's that thought. There's no...
I think there's plenty of good men, and I think there's plenty of good women. I think the issue that we're not asking ourselves is, where am I looking? If I keep finding dog men, bad men, my question is, okay, let's not talk about the men. Let's talk about you. Where are you looking at?
Right. Right.
Where are you at?
And also, I would like to add, what are your standards? And I know a lot of women are going to be like, I got high standards, and you should, right? You should have some standards. But what are realistic?
Yeah.
Like, are
Yeah,
you
some
looking
standards are too high.
to, like, where are you getting this imagery of this man that's like, oh, he has to make a certain amount, or he has to do this or that? And is that, I guess, what we're going for? Because trying to find that perfect man is going to be hard to find. Like, if that's the good man, like, he has to make a certain amount, or he has to look this way, or whatever. It's like,
He need to be 6'3".
yeah.
So
When that good man sitting there ready at 5'11". See that all right?
so like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I actually just recently had a conversation. I love you. You know who you are. But I'm saying this as a point to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It was a group of us. We were all talking. And they was like, Don, you got any friends? Which is a question I've heard for years from different women. Like, where your friends at? I'm like, and I told them, I said, I don't know if y'all want to date some of my friends. Like, like, I don't think y'all want. And they was like, well, I don't know. I was like, well, what are you looking for? And one of them said, I just need him to be physically intimidating.
Wow.
And I was like, that's it? She's like, she said, he just needs to be physically intimidating. I was like, okay. I was like, but what if that's not what God has for you? Maybe he doesn't look, like, what happens if you have a guy that looks physically intimidating, but he'll punk?
Trash.
But then you have a guy who's like maybe a little, like a smaller guy who's not this, like, doesn't look intimidating, but he's willing to protect you at all costs. Yeah. She's like, yeah, I still want the physically intimidating guy. She said I admit it's a trauma thing for me from my childhood. I was like, so it's true that we make decisions from trauma, even if we know that it ain't the best thing for us.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not trying to call her out and nothing like that. She knows I love her. But I'm making a point that we do that.
Yeah.
And like, we know, like, yeah, it's really not a big deal. Yeah, I know God may have that guy for me, but I want that.
Yeah.
Because I need that.
Yeah.
But what happens when that's the only thing you get and everything else is trash?
Because I will say, looking back, we talked about this before. Kadero was not my type, right? And I did have a type back then that I liked certain heights and just everything. Builds. But like, looking back, I often thank God that I'm not with them. Like, seeing the people that I've dated before, like where they are in life, their beliefs now, I'm like, oh, yo, I could
My
not.
Lord Jesus Christ of
Could
Nazareth.
not. I thank God that, like, I stepped out of my comfort zone, or I stepped out of what I thought that I wanted. And I went for the person that God had for me the whole time. So it's just like, I think that there are good men, but do they look like the package that you want to receive, or do they look different? So you have to kind of take off a few blinders.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very real thing. There's women in my past, I'm like, what did I see in them?
Yeah.
Like, and like, I can see myself today, like, dog, you had to be insecure. Like, I'd be looking like, I'm embarrassed, because usually, like, I'll find people, you know, Facebook, you can find anybody. And I'm always telling her a story about something from my past or middle school. Man, I was in middle school, I used to date this girl. I remember she was, man, all the guys wanted her. And go look her Facebook up and like, I don't even want to show her this picture. I didn't want to show her this person. But like, it's true. Like, you be looking back and like, thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
Because at one point I thought this person was going to be my wife.
Yeah.
I just thank you for. I would have like the unhealthy me would have for sure ruined that relationship
Yeah.
all day long.
That's so true. So what was your second question?
More of that churchy thing, and you talked a little bit of like in it, like where are you finding it? He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So you got those women. Well, he gonna find me, cause he who findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we just waiting around? Should the men be the constant pursuit? Should women be?
I mean, did Adam find Eve, or did God provide her?
God definitely presented. He woke up and like, hey, here you go.
He's like, wait a minute. I'm just saying this is just a thought to think through. I think that we've created this narrative, like, and I don't know if I'm necessarily agreeing or disagreeing.
Right.
Right. I'm just saying the common thought, mostly you'll find in the church world, is the man is the hunter. The man is the one that is seeking and trying to find where she is, and the woman is there and she's waiting to be found. And I don't necessarily, even though I just said I don't know if I agree or disagree, I kind of don't agree with what we've made it. Like, I'll say that. Am I opposed to men being more of the intention, like the intentional person in the relation in the finding part? I don't disagree with that. I think I just feel like it depends on motive. I think it depends on a lot of things. You know, what have been common is, you know, maybe you're working somewhere, maybe you're out in public and you see a young lady and you find her attractive. Like, hey, excuse me. Like, I still feel like that is a manly thing to do. I'm still weird, and maybe this is just, I don't know, but I'm still weird when women propose. Like,
I am too.
I'm still kind of weird on that. I don't know if I'm weird on that because culture has taught us that men do that or what. But for me, I'm going to be uncomfortable. She get on one knee and be like, I'm like, okay, first of all, stand up.
Because it makes you wonder, was he actually ready? You know?
But why? But see, again, why does that give you that message? Because
a woman could not be ready.
Could she not? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I guess if he wasn't ready, he should say no when she proposes.
I think anybody should say no. But people be saying yes out of obligation because a bunch of people standing around like, bro, you
because then it's a big production. The whole proposal is such a
that's
big
why you
production.
gotta know.
Yeah.
I know that yes is coming. Like, if I'm unsure.
Right.
I've seen some videos
Do
though
that
where
in
the
private.
person's like,
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna tell you how I did Ernestine, because you ain't finna catch me slipping. I was like, you know, you feel like you can be married to me? Like, you start throwing those little questions out, like, you just asking, you know, like, what you think life would be like if we were married? And if she's like really involved in, like, okay, yeah, I'm sure she'll give me a yes.
That's hilarious.
No, but
it's probably wise.
I don't know. But he that findeth a wife, I don't know if the context of that scripture was saying he that pursues and finds a woman to be his wife finds a good thing. I don't know if that's the context of that scripture. I know that you have translation and you have English language versus ancient Hebrew language, or Greek language at that time, that's a whole nother thing. And so I'm a big context guy. Like, I know what it says, but I also know it was translated to English. So it already lost some value. And then I also know that there are certain words that we don't have that are in Hebrew language or Greek language that doesn't exist in the English. So we had to put the best word in this place to that best represented what it means to us. In the English language, there's one love for love. I love you, Kadero, but I also love my wife. That's two different loves, but it's the same word. In Hebrew, there's phileo, agape, serge. You have 17, 20 other different loves that describe different types of love. So in English, we had to just put in the best word that fits our understanding and that best gets the point across. So when you translate, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing, I don't know the answer. I haven't studied that through, but what I'm wondering is, does it suggest what we assume that it suggests?
Right.
And that is the man is the hunter.
Right.
Because again, I go back to Adam and Eve. Adam did not search. They're our first parents. They're the first representation of what marriage is. And he did not find or go looking for her. Now you may say, well, there wasn't nobody else there.
His pool was very small.
He's like, I ain't had no choice.
But he wasn't looking for her.
Yeah,
Right.
he was. But what he was doing his job.
Yeah.
He was cultivating an atmosphere for that woman to come.
Yeah.
He just may not know that woman was coming, but he was cultivating the garden. He was walking with the Lord daily. See, this goes back to my point earlier. Who are you before the woman comes in?
And are you talking to God in every position?
Yeah.
Scripture says that he walked with God daily. And at that point, there was no sin in him. We always talk about how Jesus was the second Adam, and we talk about it as if he was a second person because Jesus was the second person. He was the one that actually got it right. Adam was supposed to get it right, but he didn't. So God sent Jesus, the second Adam, and he got it right. I like to suggest that Jesus was the second Adam because he was the second person in history who had no sin, because Adam did not have sin at one point. At one point, he didn't. That's another conversation. But Adam was found doing what he was called to do in the garden. He was cultivating what God had given him. He was walking with the Lord. Everything he did was based on the will of the Father.
Yeah.
And then God says, you know what? God determined
Yeah.
it was not good for him to be alone. And he set up an opportunity for him to get to know or to come into oneness with his rib.
So what does that look like in today's, I guess, time? Are we working on ourselves? Are we doing what God has called us to do? Or are we out here just trying to find it ourselves and do it ourselves and all this stuff? Yeah. You know, it's like just focus on yourself, focus on what God's calling you to do. And because ultimately he knows the time, the place, who you need to meet, all of those things. And I feel like he will orchestrate that. I mean, I know some people are going to disagree. Well, but whatever.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's fine. We're all trying to figure it out. We don't have all the answers, and we don't profess that every answer that we have is the absolute, answer.
Right.
Some cases we might feel that way, but again, this is the whole point of this podcast is it's a community. We're going to talk about the real, the raw, and unrelatable, and we're going to offer our opinion. That's what, by nature, an opinion is my thought process on a topic.
And everyone is entitled to their opinion.
You know what I mean?
It's okay, and it's okay for everyone not to agree. Yeah. And I think in the world we live in today,
a lot of people
that's not okay. They don't like that you don't all think the same.
Right.
That's so funny to me, though.
And it's okay.
And it's dumb
to not think the same.
Yeah.
Like people who call you bigots, like especially in like on a specific topic, they'll say, "Oh, you're a bigot because you don't agree or accept my opinion." I'm like, but you just called me a bigot for the very thing that you're doing right now. You don't agree with my thought process. So does that make us both bigots?
It's like, so you're entitled to your opinion, but I'm not.
Yeah.
That's what's strange. So that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. We be
It's a whole
we
nother
be all
topic.
over the place. But I like it.
we
Y'all know what I call it.
Don't
Yeah,
care.
well,
I'm not gonna say it right now.
Let's just. This is a good time to
Wrap
wrap
it
it
up,
on
baby.
up, guys. We thank y'all so much for joining us today at the Marriage
Yes.
Altar. We hope that you do us a favor, like, subscribe, comment, all of those things. Share it with your friends, family, loved ones. Like Don said earlier, if y'all have any questions, comments, advice, wins, email us at the Marriage Altar. Yep.
No.
Info. Get it
Info.
right. Info at the Marriage Altar, and that's spelled ALTAER.US. That's right.
Info at themarriagealtar.us. Yeah.
Yes. So we love you guys.
I
And
love y'all.
is that it? Did I get
That's
everything?
it.
That's
Anybody
it.
else got
You
something to
hit it.
say?
You hit it.
All right.
You
Well,
did
we
good,
love you.
sister.
Thank you. Love you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Meet me at the altar.